ting. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are reviewing the one, the only, Orange is the New Black. I remember when the show came out and everybody was just like, I love it. This is like key Netflix and chill time, you know, peak time when people were really getting into Netflix. So it's great to see them on their season 6, and I have to say they are going very strong. Like, I've never felt like a season was weak enough for me to be like, ooh, Orange is the New Black is falling off. I've always thought that they have a pretty good storyline, but this season, season 6 in particular, I feel like they really took care of everything. Okay, so I filmed this yesterday, and when I filmed it, I realized I was just talking all over the place, and that's just because there's so many different stories going on that if I try to tell the story, I'm like getting pulled and pulled by all these different things that are happening, right? So the way that I'm going to do this is by talking about each character in particular and where their character is in the storyline, whatever, because season 6 is starting out with the girls being sent from Litchfield to now Max. Now Litchfield is a minimum security prison, meaning that it's not as strict. The ladies have some free roaming type vibes. Not too much because it's still a prison, but you know, just to the point of this is called minimum, this is called maximum. Maximum is the real deal. So they're all sent to Max after they revolted against the guards and held some of the guards hostage. So if you've seen the last season, you know how it's crunch time now for the ladies to figure out what the next steps are, because they know that they're going to be charged for this riot, and they also know that somebody has to be held accountable for the death of not only Humps but for another person. Hold on. Now see, what the girls don't know and what we know is that Piscatella was shot by the stormtroopers that came in to save the hostages. Now what we know and what the inmates don't know, the ladies who all stayed down in the pool, so that's Chapman, Taystee, Red, Frida, Mendoza, Suzanne, Cindy, they all don't know what's going on, right? They know that they let Piscatella go. Piscatella goes up to the top, girl. Piscatella gets a bullet right here, okay? Right in the left eye. No TLC for him because he's dead. I mean, can't say I was sad to see him go, but I was like, oh no, maybe he was about to turn over a new leaf. He looked like, you know, he didn't attack anyone when they let him loose. I don't know, it was a moment on the last season. So anyway, we see the stormtroopers kill him point blank period with the pepper ball. He shoots him right in the face. Child. So that's what we're starting off with knowing this information and knowing that some shit is about to go down because these guards have to now cover their own ass. So let's start off with the main characters, right? Piper Chapman. Piper this season, I'm gonna say that I actually really liked her. The season where she was dealing with the short hair and the one they say is like the Justin Bieber, I didn't really like Piper that season. She was getting on my nerves. But this season I feel like she really she kept it straight and narrow, but still was like, I'm not gonna let y'all tell me what to do, because Piper at this point is like, look, I got a fiance and that's Alex Voss. I need to know where she's at. She gets to the prison to Max and she's just concerned about where Alex is. The last time she saw her, the stormtroopers raided in and they got separated. So she's concerned about Alex, as she should be. But it's like, girl, be concerned about whether or not you're about to get 10 extra years to your charges. Like, it's something about the booty. Everybody just be forgetting about what's really going on, what's really important, girl. I need you to get back, you know, to the priority, like to what's really good, girl. Is you about to get 10 extra years to your sentence. So what Chapman ends up doing is pointing the finger at Red, letting the police know Red started this riot, which is like some real desperate, lame, dang girl type thing, but expected from Piper. Like, Piper ain't doing no ride or die shit for nobody but Alex. So she thought Alex was dead since she ain't seen Alex and Max since she been there, and so she just went ahead and started tattletaling, which is it just seems a very white privilege thing to do. Like, you know what, this is not my problem anymore. I didn't do it, she did it. So I wasn't surprised, to say the least. Now Piper, what I really like about Piper and Alex's relationship this season is that it seemed very healthy. Like, and by very healthy, I just mean healthy enough for you to maintain a prison relationship. Instead of them arguing and it becoming this big massive thing and blowing up, they will argue and then right then and there create the solution. And that was different to see them in that way. And I guess this is how they're going to be trying to handle things now that they are engaged. So I thought that was cute that their relationship was not a key focus this season. It was mainly about everyone else's storyline, including their own, but their relationship was not so major this season. Chapman is roaming around and sees some old pictures from the camp, and people are playing kickball, they get married. Her and Boss end up getting married in the prison. I thought that was cute. You know, I thought that was cute. It was nice. So Chapman starts to put together a kickball team. Now this kickball team is supposed to end this whole war. This season we have a big gang war between the C block and D block, which we'll get into in a second. Piper said, girl, let me tell you something. I'm trying to get some fresh air. I'm a runner, and since I can't maintain my paleo diet in here, I'm gonna have to, you know, do something active. So Chapman gets everyone to play kickball, and this is the light of the show. This is kind of what humbles everyone and makes everyone human again, and they forget about this whole prison gang nonsense. So shout out to Piper for establishing some like human activity into the prison, because I think that's one of the biggest strifes. Is that a word? Strife? I don't know. One of the biggest complaints from the inmates is that they're treated as animals. So let's talk about Miss Alex Boss, right? I like what Alex's character is doing. She wants to get into business school, which is believable. Alex is smart, has always been smart on the show, so I get that. But Alex is also, I think, a protector of Piper, and in an effort to protect her, she puts herself in this situation where now she has to be a part of a gang, and she doesn't make any real gang moves. She, of course, in a smart way, finds her way out of it. Alex is smart. I like her. She's a big voice of reason on the show, and so is Nikki Nichols. Surprisingly, as wild as she is, Nikki, I always thought she was smart and has common sense. Nikki is our wild child, but this season she's the one who is really being able to see clear, and she's trying to protect Red the most. Like, she feels bad for having to tell on Red, but what she told on Red was actually true. Like, Red, hold on girl, now wait a minute, you did have us lure this man in here, okay? Like, well, you didn't have us do it, but you lure him in here. Like, none of this would have happened. He would have never died if you didn't bring him in here. You did send that text. She ended up telling on Red too, so y'all know Red is pissed off, okay? And that's not the only person who told on Red, but Red is pissed at this point. Nikki's character, I just like how she had her head on this season. So Red, girl, Red real mad, because not only did Nikki tell on her, so did Chapman, and so did Frida. Now Frida's supposed to be her right man. Frida is her homegirl. Like, they've been in there for a long time together. They've been in prison together for a long ass time, so they really know each other. So Red expects loyalty from her. Red expects everybody in her family to be loyal. She has that old mentality of family over everything, and since she's been in prison for so long, she looks at these girls as her family, which, you know, I get that. What she learns is, look girl, when things get rough, okay, I don't care, I don't care, you did it. And so Red learns that, you know, don't matter how close you feel to these girls, if they need to protect themselves, then they will, period. She makes it her duty this whole season to get Frida back, and it's understandable, and it's very Red of her. And I don't even see you in Max, so where's you at? Hold on, I done found out you in Florida. We're gonna talk about Florida in a second when we get to talking about the C block, the D block, and the B block. So it's just like, dang, Frida, you gonna do it like that, girl? Okay. So Red ends up befriending the top dog in her block. I think she's in C block. Is she in C block or D block? She wants to find somebody who hates Frida just as much. She heard about somebody not liking Frida, so she's like, hold on, somebody in here hates her just as much as me. Let me find them because I need to get Frida. Now let me tell you how I feel about Carol. I loved Carol's character, and I also love Barb's character, and the reason why I love them the most, I think it's not even about them, it's the fact that whoever did the casting for the younger version of them nailed it. Those girls look like them. Like, it was so believable. I thought that they were those characters. That's the thing I need to say about the entire season. The acting this season, all right, no problem. Now, there are two bad seeds, as there are some bad seeds every now and again. And by bad seeds, I mean their acting wasn't the greatest, but everybody needs a little work sometimes. You know, this could have been an off season for them. They are very social people outside of filming this TV show. They're the two that I see out and about the most. They're the ones who I would consider the celebrities of the actual show. And that is Daya and Laverne Cox's character, which I always forget Laverne Cox's name on the show. But those two right there, girl, sometimes they would be saying something and I'm just like, girl, put a little oomph in it. Can you please put a little oomph in it? They was talking like they was just, you know, the camera wasn't even rolling. And it would just be annoying sometimes. Girl, Daya is a mess. Daya's a mess because it's like, girl, do you not learn your lesson? Daya, you already then got caught up with having a baby with a guard. Then you get another guard fired because y'all fooling around. And then your crazy self ends up shooting a guard, okay? And now here you are this season and Daya is getting high off them pills. Now Daya is a junkie. And it's just like, dang, Daya, we don't really see you go from making your art to just boom. Every time she went to rocking back and forth for them pills, I'm like, Daya, pick up a pen. Pick up a pen, pick up a pencil, and get some paper. Draw. Do your art. Why aren't you doing your art? Yeah, there were a couple times where I would just get so annoyed by her need to just do some shit that was not good. Like, Daya, you know better than this. Daya starts fooling around with somebody named Daddy. Now, this is a new character. And another thing about Orange is the New Black, they might be the top dogs in this, giving us the background story, scene change thing. I don't know the right words to use, but you know what I'm saying. How they give us the before they went to prison type footage. I love that shit. So Daddy was a pimp. And this just explains how her character is, you know, able to manipulate the minds of the women around her, and how she got Daya to get sucked in. And she may genuinely like Daya, but she still knows what to say and knows how to get her in it, and knows how to get her to do what she wants her to do, because Daya becomes this, one of the bodyguards, Barb. And it's just like, girl, sit down. What is you doing? What is you doing? So I like Daddy's character. I wouldn't mind seeing her again for the next season. Now, some people who we didn't see this season, we didn't see the little mechanic girl. We didn't see the lady who used to be next to Red all the time, the one that never talked. We didn't see the new Muslim black friend in the group. We didn't see the other girl, Watson. Who else? It was a couple people. We didn't see the other Spanish girl, Mariziana or something like that. So there were a couple people who weren't there, which I actually enjoyed that aspect of the show. It made me feel like it was very realistic. Like, we're not about to have all these girls who just participated in a riot together all in the same prison. We saw that Blue and one of the Spanish girls were at a different prison, and I like that made it feel realistic. And I like when shows go out their way to make it feel realistic, because it just helps. Like, girl, I don't want to not feel like this isn't real, like, or I'm not gonna be engaged. So let's talk about Suzanne, right? Suzanne has grown so much since season 1. I love Suzanne's character this season. I thought she was her most mature, and I love seeing the development of her character and her being able to speak up for herself and just be an active player this season. It was sad how Black Cindy was using her to corroborate with this made-up story. I hated that part, because it's just like, dang, Cindy, you have really shown us that you ain't shit. I do love Cindy's character and her acting growth. Like, this is the first season where we really saw her give us her acting chops. She had a lot of emotional scenes this season. We even got to see Cindy from back in the day, how she handled her pregnancy. And we learned, not last season, but maybe the season before, that Cindy has a child who she gave up to her mother, and they, you know, act as sisters. The daughter doesn't even know that that's her daughter. And so we see that Cindy does not know how to take responsibility for her actions, and she is immature. And so this season we see that again in the way that she handles Suzanne. We see the backs and forths of Cindy, because in the last season Suzanne had a freak out and Cindy was there to take care of her, and she was looking out for her, and that's why they were together during that time, because Cindy kind of took her up under her wing, like, I'm gonna take care of you. This season we see her kind of force Suzanne, not even kind of, she was forcing Suzanne to lie because she's scared. And it's like, girl, you don't know what could have happened if y'all would have just told the truth. So Cindy and Suzanne witnessed the stormtroopers set up this fake, you know, killing that they're gonna plant on one of the inmates. They witnessed the stormtroopers shoot Piscatella in the face while they're hiding in the pool area. They're the only 2 inmates who were not captured down there. And Cindy makes it crucial for Suzanne to uphold this lie, knowing that Suzanne is who she is, and like, that's a lot for her. And Suzanne's very literal. So, no, she sees something, that's what she's gonna say she saw, and maybe even more than that. Like, the great thing about Suzanne that I love this season, we got to see her imagination. Technically it wasn't just imagination, this is how her mind works when she's not on her medication. She finds ways to cope, and by coping she uses her imagination, and they can draw this, you know, these crazy stories. So in the beginning of the first episode we saw what she was seeing. She wanted to watch TV, and so she's imagining watching TV. And I just like how whoever wrote this season and edited this season really gave us an inside look into all the characters and how they are viewing things. I thought that was really nice. So why was this so messed up on Black Cindy's end? I feel weird calling her Black Cindy, but why is it so weird? Because Cindy ends up turning on Taystee. The prosecutors of this case, they're rushing to give the governor and Blue Lives Matter what they want, which is justice for 2 guards being killed in this riot. Instead of focusing on the facts, they want to find somebody who will take the life sentence for these deaths. And it's messed up and it's real as hell, because I'm almost certain that this is how most crimes are handled. Instead of them wanting to spend money on actually figuring out what happened and really like doing their due diligence to like test out, you know, how did they not know a pepper bullet was the first bullet in the face? You know what I'm saying? Like, you even hear the stormtrooper, I think this was in, maybe it was either in the last episode of season 5 or it was in this episode, I don't remember, but he was like, we have to get so and so on this case, they need to be our forensics person. And if you don't think that these people have those kind of connections where they can call who they want to call, so then people will, you know, corroborate with their story. Is it corroborate? I'm just saying a word I feel like I heard before on one of these 48 hours television shows or whatever. But, you know, they want to find someone who's going to help them tell this lie and, you know, sign off on something that isn't true. And what wasn't true was that Taystee shot Piscatella, which is the story that the prosecutors decided to go with because Taystee was the best option. Taystee is Black. Taystee ain't got no family who's going to make noise outside of the prison and really cause any like questions to be, you know, brought up. And Taystee was also the person who the whole world saw, you know, catching flames on fire. She was the one who was communicating with Caputo and with Natalie and with the governor's people, who was trying to get justice for Poussette, which unfortunately never happened. So this season, Taystee's just all kind of mad. Taystee's mad at everybody. Taystee's over everybody. She ain't trying to hear nothing. Taystee, who's normally a big bubbly character, was very down this season. Very just, man, I'm just trying to type, you know, vibe this season. I just felt bad for her because in all that, she didn't even know that her homegirl Cindy done pointed the finger at her. The prosecutor made Cindy feel like she ain't had no other option. And in Cindy's head, she didn't have no other option but to tell on Taystee, like, girl, why would you tell them she had the gun in her hand? But whatever. Mendoza, who was also downstairs with the ladies in the pool. Mendoza's character, I always look at her as like a little mama bear, mama bee, especially with how she deals with Daya. But she ends up having to be a real mama bear to her own kids because her son ends up getting beat up and getting put into the hospital, and he had to get brain surgery. So some really serious stuff going on with her. And to try to get out so she could see her son, she decided in the last season, season 5, she was gonna release the hostages so then she could get furlough. And what ends up happening is she shares that with Ruiz, and is it Maria? I think it's Maria Ruiz. When she tells Ruiz about that, girl, and Ruiz said, oh, beat you to it, I'm about to let them out myself. Come on, one by one. And she lets all of them out, not even knowing, girl, did nobody agree for no furlough? You doing all this, letting people out, you don't even really know what's really going on. Did nobody talk to you? Now Mendoza hates Ruiz, and I get that. What I didn't get was why Ruiz was acting all like she ain't like Mendoza. Like, girl, what you mad at her for? You the one who messed her stuff up, okay? And you knew what was going on with her son. Like, you isn't nasty for that. So the whole season, Mendoza is just like, girl, don't even come over here. I do not like you at all. You're a liar. They both end up going to the prosecutors and telling on each other. Clearly Ruiz was lying on Mendoza because Mendoza was never with this hostages, you know, riot situation. She's a true mama bear. The guards this season, the guards were gross. The guards were, I think, worse than the guards from previous seasons. These guards are careless. They even have a game that they play called Fantasy Inmate. And in this game, they get points for the inmates doing wild stuff. It could be them catching them in lesbian activity. It could be them crying during the day. It could be them hurting themselves or hurting someone else. Like, you know, things that will happen with people who are all in close quarters and, you know, angry and whatever. Things that'll happen inside a prison, child. It's just, I think, Orange is the New Black's way of showing how disconnected the guards can be to the inmates, like how they're unable to see them as humans and how they really treat them like they're a different species because they've made a mistake that's ended them up in prison. What I didn't like was that they had the same prison guards from Litchfield in the max. Like, if y'all go separate the inmates because y'all think something might happen because they're all together again, what would make you think you also don't need to separate the guards? Like, obviously they're gonna have grudges against the girls who stuck batons. Ew, stuck batons. But of course they're gonna have grudges against the girls who stuck batons up their butt and made them stand in nasty porta potties for hours. Like, and some days, like, obviously this is not a good idea to have them back working. Like, they don't care about these inmates. It just showed a lack of give a fuck. You know, if we were to ever question that, there was no need to question it anymore. Daya was getting beat up by the guards. Taystee was getting beat up by the guards. The guards just didn't care at all. They would celebrate someone dying. They would celebrate someone attempted to kill themselves. Like, this was really a game to them. They just really don't care. One of the guards is even involved in a drug situation with the prison inmates. So now let's talk about C block versus D block. So this whole C block, D block thing all started with these two sisters, Carol and Barb. I really like when they have the OGs in here and they tell the OG story. Like, I just like that. So that's who Carol and Barb are. They're both crazy as hell. These women, they're sisters. They killed their youngest sister. And it's just like, dang, y'all are both ruthless as fuck. So because they hate each other so much, they get everyone else to form sides, and now we have C block versus D block. While doing so, the ladies have established themselves in the drug game and in the merchandise game. Basically, long story short, girl, they're selling these drugs. They end up getting the way that they were getting the drugs in was through the kitchen. During mischief day, the girls let out some rats. Now the kitchen is closed, girl. Ain't no more jobs and ain't no more drugs. So not only is the guard mad, but so are all the people who are expecting these drugs and making money off these drugs. So they have to try to find another way to make money and also keep this guard happy. So a lot of the season is about that. And once we get to the end, the ladies are so pissed off at each other that they decide, you know what, at this kickball game that Chapman is putting together, we gonna go to war with each other. Now what the inmates don't know is that Carol and Barb have other plans. Not only do they want everybody to hurt each other, but they also want to go and find Frida and mess her the hell up, since she, you know, got them like an extra 30 years on their sentence. So while everybody is on the yard about to mess each other up playing kickball, the sisters are locked in the closet together. You know, they gonna pop out on Frida. They done changed into B Block clothing. Now I never talked about B Block. B Block is where they send people from psych. They also send people who are older. This is where they send the inmates who are not like aggressive. They also sent Laverne Cox there as well. And so they kept calling it Florida because, you know, they say you go to Florida when you're ready to retire. So that was the analogy that was used. Analogy, metaphor, where my English girls at? But girl, that's what that was. That was supposed to be the safe zone. This is the place where nobody has drama or beef. There's no gang affiliations. There's no drugs in here. It's a safe ground, which is why Frida wanted to be a part of the B Block, because she wanted to stay out of this drama between Carol and Bob, because she knew that these ladies were going to want to get back at her for setting them up so many years ago. So while they in the closet, girl, let me tell you something about this last episode. Like, I thought every episode was great. I did have to kind of get into it, but once I got into it, I was there. And a part of my needing to like kind of get into it is because my memory wasn't refreshed from the last season. And that's the thing about Netflix. Like, you can go back and watch the season. So I had to go and rewatch season 5 for me to understand everything that was going on this season. So if you felt like a little off at all, it probably has something to do with you not remembering every detail of last season, which is helpful for this season. So when I did that, I was like, damn, they do a really good job setting up these storylines. So what happens? Carol and Barb, oh my god, on this last episode, now this is a good season finale. This is a good goddamn season finale. Piper ends up getting an early release. Yay, Piper. But I love how they ended with Piper and Piper looking out that window and her brother being like, so, what are you gonna do now? And it's like, damn, bitch, what are you gonna do now? Like, when you get out of prison, you're so used to living your life a certain day every day. Now you gotta figure out how to adjust into the real world again, and like what you can and cannot do now that you have this past and this is on your record. Like, what do you do now as a felon in the United States? Piper gets out early. So does Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox gets out early, but only because she did some whackness and took this $300,000 from MCC so that she wouldn't talk about what happened at the riot or about MCC, you know, messing with her medication and all kinds of stuff. Girl, she took some hush money, so she gets out early. And then my Spanish girl with the unibrow, whose character I really began to like last season, now I officially like her. She and her man, they were really excited about her possibly coming out, and they wanted to start a family together. And he expressed to her, you know, I'm scared that by the time you get out, I'm gonna be already sent back to Mexico because ICE is going crazy out here. And if you don't know what ICE is, that's the immigration service that goes and tries to capture people who don't have their papers, and they kick them out of the United States. And it's going really heavy now with the president that we have currently. So he was, you know, sharing with her his concerns, and she was like, no, you're gonna be fine. We're gonna start a family, you know, just very reassuring. Girl, how about she gets out and he's standing out there with flowers and he's so excited and looks like he smells good, and then they take her outside or whatever, and we think that she's about to see him, and it's an immigration buzz. She's getting deported. Oh, y'all, that actually made my eyes tear up. Like, I was legit sad for her. Like, dang. And you can't call him. You can't nothing. Like, he's literally standing on the other side of the building waiting for you. And God, the pain. The pain. That was good. Also, Barb and Carol killing themselves, I thought was interesting, and I thought it was a real like whoa, shake it up moment. Like, dang, y'all took it to the max. Like, okay. They are definitely not coming back next season, okay? I thought that that was realistic. These sisters haven't seen each other in a long time and they hate each other. And as much as they hate Frida, they genuinely also hate each other. So that hate just, you know, in that small closet, girl, it was gonna be one thing or the other. And girl, they chose both. You dying and I'm dying. And so they did. So now I'm just wondering what the next season's gonna be looking like, because now we have Taystee, who has been charged with the murder of Piscatella. Her whole case I thought was really interesting because it just showed a poor black woman be accused of something she did not do and really not being able to do anything about it. Like, it doesn't matter what her story was. I just feel like it just showed how the system can make a decision on whatever they want sometimes. And so even with the support of Black Lives Matter, girl, Taystee still got told she was guilty. And so I wonder what's gonna happen with her next season. The same with Daya, who took a plea and took a murder charge for Humps, even though she did not kill Humps. Again, it's like, who is doing the autopsies for these bodies, girl? Because I done seen my, you know, my number of docu-series and whatnot, and they be doing them autopsies and learning what be happening to folks. So a bullet wound did not kill him, therefore she did not kill him. Anyway, so I just wonder what's gonna happen next season. Piper's out, Alex is still in, Red, she's still in there. But now her power dynamic is a little off because Carol and Barb are gone, but she still has to deal with Baddison. Baddison, her crazy wild ass. Baddison would be the kind of girl that would be on Maury like, I hate my parents and I don't care what anybody says. And it's like, girl, shut up. Baddison just needs a couple pops right to the jaw and the nose area and she would shut right the hell up. Baddison is that type of girl who is just bad for no reason. Like, Madison, what are you doing? Calm down. We got to see her backstory. We saw Nikki Nichols' backstory as a child. We saw Black Cindy. We saw Frida's. We saw Daddy. We saw Carol and Barb. I just love the background stories. It helps me see them as more than just the inmates that they are and the people who they are in jail. But you get to see who they were outside of jail and if they were any different at all or if they are the same. Because I think what they were telling us was there are certain characteristics of them that are the same. Like, these are the same people. They're just in jail. And now prison can make you worse, but these are still people and they're still individuals. And they are who they are because of what they experience outside of prison. Prison is not what's making these women. Like, they already were who they were outside of it. So they are still people. So Daya's mom starts helping Daya out by smuggling drugs in. She's dating one of the guards. And I'm like, girl, like mother, like goddamn daughter. Y'all don't never learn with these white guards, okay? So now she's dating him. They start smuggling in drugs through her Nutra Herbal, which I thought was funny and realistic. Like, I could picture her doing that in New York. Yeah, let me see if I'm missing anybody. Oh yeah, Caputo and Natalie are dating. I like that. I did like that. My favorite scene with them is when he says to her, so you bought the coat. And I was like, Caputo, shut up. Yes, she bought the coat. Shut up. Hey. I like that he pays attention to her. And I know that she likes that too, especially coming out of the relationship she was just in. Lorna, oh sweet Lorna. Lorna has a sad ending. Lorna is pregnant this whole season and a little bit too caught up in this gang life, but towards the end Nikki is trying to protect her, has her stay in the closet instead of going out to play kickball. And while they're out there playing kickball, Lorna is by herself, and unfortunately it looks like she's going to suffer from a miscarriage. She's by herself and she starts having contractions. The next time we see her, she's all bloody and she's really in pain and she's having to be walked into medical, and it's just sad. Like, damn, I wonder what's gonna happen with her next season, because she was really looking forward to having this kid and now that's not an option, it looks like. I think I've talked about everybody. This was a pretty good goddamn season. Out of 5 stars, I'm gonna definitely give this 4.5 because I thought it was just that damn good. I thought that the characters, all of their stories are very realistic to what would be happening if this was like a real life situation. It was good. It was good. I really enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching it so much so that I went back and watched it again. Like, this was one of those shows that I binge watched. If you don't watch Orange is the New Black, you know, leave me a comment and let me know what's stopping you or why you haven't gotten started. It's actually a good show. They like to touch on uncomfortable topics, and I appreciate that. The writing is intelligent and current. So check out Orange is the New Black. I got on my orange nails. It really wasn't on purpose. I just happened to paint my nails orange yesterday. So yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Till next time, peace.